Grace Rock Show, the core of new rock and metal.
I'm joined by Pablo of, now can you pronounce it, is it Irist or Irist?
It's Irist.
Irist. You know what, I totally said it wrong on last week's show.
No worries, man.
So I will start off by apologizing for that. But let's go straight into the big elephant in the room. So I wanted to ask how you and maybe the band as well have been coping through this crazy time at the moment, especially obviously being over in the US, based in Atlanta.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's been tough, like as it has been for everybody. But fortunately, at least for me personally, I'm locked in Adam's house, where we have a studio that he built in his basement, in the basement of his home, and so we're able to keep writing and staying creative. And like I mentioned before, I have my dog with me, so I've got some good company. We've got food. Everybody's in good health, so I mean, there's really very little we can complain about, all things considered.
Fantastic. So you're staying creative in the this moment then. So do you reckon we're already going to see a new EP or album again?
I don't want to speak too soon, but we're got a lot of momentum going, and I had already started piecing together these other songs and sections just before all of this happened. So us being locked into the same room or into the same house right now is only helping push that forward. So
yeah, it can only
I'm
be
hoping that we have I hope so. Yeah.
So sadly, obviously, your release show was cancelled, but you did do a DJ set on the radio, from what I could tell. Was that release show supposed to be at your favourite venue that you've always played at as well? I can't remember the name of it, but I wanted you to let me know, what is so special about that venue to you. And after that, if you could let us know how else fans of yours and future fans can help you out at the moment. Is there a donation way or anything like that?
Yeah. We had our show canceled that we were supposed to play at the Caledonia Lounge in Athens, Georgia. And for us as a band, it's kind of special to us because they were booking us really early on when, they really didn't know who we were. Plus the people there are just super warm and welcoming, and, it's as simple as they're good people and they've always treated us well. And for me personally, I've always gone to shows there. Right now I'm in Atlanta, but I live in Athens, and Athens is a place that I moved to when my family came to this country from Argentina. So I've always been living there on and off. I've traveled around the United States growing up and stuff, but Athens is kind of it's my home up here. So the Caledonia feels special because of that and the people that work there and how they treated this band. So yeah, it sucks we had the show canceled, but we're in the same boat as everybody. And I couldn't remember the second half of your question.
So how can fans help you at the moment? Is there any way they can donate, or is it just go and get the merch?
Really, at this point, just the merch. We don't have any. We didn't do any live stream or any other like creative kind of donation based thing. So right now, just the merch. We've got obviously the album, and there's a T-shirt up there somewhere, and we've got a few more things that we'll hopefully put in the merch store in the near future. And
fantastic.
So yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so we're going to go right back to the start. So obviously you started the idea of the band in 2015, from what I could tell, and you all came together through Craigslist. So I've been watching these videos about the history of you recently. I think they're brilliant. Cool. And obviously you've just released your debut album this year in 2020. So that's 5 years of progress. Was there a particular moment when you and the guys realized that your dream to be a successful band could come true?
It's hard to say. We got maybe a glimpse of that, or a moment where we were all kind of incredulous when Monty Connor got in touch with the band real super early on, because we released I don't even think we posted it or released it, but we recorded an EP that I think we finished it up in 2017, and we asked Matt Bayless. He's a mixer and producer based out of Seattle. We asked him to mix it, And fortunately, he thought highly of it and asked if he could share it with a couple of labels. And we were flattered, and we said, yeah, sure, go ahead.
Yeah.
And a few days later, I think it was Adam that got an email from Monty Connor at Nuclear Blast, and
Yeah.
at that, yeah, and that was like, I don't even think we'd played a show, and if we had played a show, it would have only been one. So
Wow.
it
Okay.
was
So
like incredibly shocking. We
yeah.
we hadn't sent any demos to labels. I don't even think that was in the plans at the time. We just wanted to put an EP out and start playing shows, maybe put together a regional tour with, some local bands and friends. But, obviously if Monty Connor has got his eye on you,
Yeah.
and that could cause a pretty drastic change of plans, which it did. We just kind of, we did play shows, and,
Yeah. So you
we did
haven't
play a handful of
necessarily.
shows. Yeah, but we had to focus on. We never stopped focus on songwriting. Is really my point, because he was asking for more material, and he was, we just kind of staying in touch with him. So which we did for, yeah, and we kept sending him demos for a while. And once Rodrigo joined the band, we had him record vocals and I think it was 3 or 4 demos.
Okay.
And once we sent that to Monty, he was ready to sign us up.
Brilliant. So it's a little bit different to probably the traditional journey of a band, you could say, really, to getting signed.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it is. It is.
Very, very lucky. So
yeah,
I wanted to ask, what was it like? Because obviously you came over to the UK to record Order of the Mind, which is the album that you've got out now. Have listened to it over the past couple of days, and it's a fantastic album, I must say.
Awesome.
But yeah, I
you.
want to ask, what was it like being over in the UK recording that in comparison to maybe being in the studio in the States, perhaps?
It was amazing. It was it's hard to really I don't know. I'm not sure what stood out the most to us, but just the idea of, first of all, just being in another country, having to travel a long way to write music and record music already puts you in a different headspace. So I think it makes it easier to step back and kind of look at all your songs and with a greater perspective. So that's the first thing. But the second thing is that we recorded like way out in the country, in Southampton. Yeah. So we were on I don't know if it's, well, I guess it's a horse farm because we were staying in repurposed horse stables. Which was great. I'm not complaining about any of it. It was awesome. And it really, I truly believe that it all of that really added to the album, and us just being, in this little, you'd have to get through the gate next to this old church, and then there was an outhouse, and like I said, we were staying in this repurposed horse stable with a little space heater, and some bunk beds. It was really cool though, man. So we basically, we would start our day just walking a few steps down to the recording studio side of the property, and then we would just pretty much be there all day. If you needed a break, maybe go get a little snack or a coffee, and then at the end of the day, we would all walk to the Horns Inn, which is a little neighborhood pub that was maybe a 45-minute walk away. And so we were in our own little time warp for a while, but it was awesome, and then Louis Johns is amazing. He ended up, he's a lifelong friend at this point, and all the people you meet along the way, just being there, it was great. It was much more than we expected. I think we expected for things to be a little more difficult, at least I don't know what sense. Maybe there was something that we forgot to address, but we were pretty well prepared in terms of the songs being completely finished, and we already had even started touching on little details and production notes and stuff like that, just because we spent so much time working on them. So I really think that made it a lot easier to not really come across any major problems when it came to recording in the UK.
That's fantastic to hear. So sticking with the UK, obviously we're expecting you to make your live UK debut in Leeds later on in the year. But with everything that's going on, do you have any updates on whether that's still going ahead or not at all?
It's still pending, man. It's still pending. We were on the
Hmm.
phone with our manager yesterday, and there's not, it hasn't been canceled. They were really not saying one thing or the other, and
Okay.
so it's been officially announced. So as far as we
So
know, it's still going to happen. But
fingers
still,
crossed I can
I
come
mean,
and see you in
unfortunately, fingers
Leeds.
crossed. Yeah, I really hope so, man. I really hope we can get out there. I mean, we're
That'd be
dying
amazing.
to get out of here. We had already gotten into, we had shifted gears and gotten into just rehearsal mode, putting
Yeah.
together a set that kind of does the album justice, and yeah, we kind of had to hit the brakes on that and go back into the cave, so to speak,
Mm.
and which isn't necessarily a bad thing because I'm really happy with all the new material that's coming out, but
Hmm.
um, yeah, and everyone's just being forced to adapt and trying to stay positive.
Exactly. So bit of an interesting one. I know that. I mean, you guys clearly have your own sound, and I absolutely love that. But I did see a comment
Mm-hmm.
on the music video for Severed that describes you as
Mm-hmm.
a mix of Gojira, Fear Factory, Mastodon, Trivium, and Ariana Grande. Now, I wanted to ask you, how do you feel about being compared to Ariana Grande?
Geez, I don't know, man. I've read. I mean, I'm at this point. I don't want to read anything else because it's just weird. And keep in mind, we haven't really shown these songs to anyone for like a 2-year period, aside from like close
Okay.
friends, and so then all of a sudden you're getting hit with all these, crazy comments, and I mean, like 99% of it is great and amazing, and
Mm,
but then at the end of the day, my conclusion personally is like, dude, people are going to hear whatever they're going to hear.
yeah.
We've literally heard everything at this point, and it hasn't even been that long. And I think that comment may have even been made before the album was released. So it's like, well,
You're
what the fuck are
probably
they going to think
correct.
after? Yeah, when you get the other 9 songs, what are you going to think then? Or when you get this other set of songs in another album, then who knows? I
You
mean, I
never
think it's
know.
great, and I'm glad that I think this would all be boring if everyone hears the same thing.
Oh
A
God,
lot
yeah.
of that, I guess, depends on what your generation and what you grew up listening to and how
Mhm.
open you are with heavy music or music in general. So trust
Yeah.
me, we've heard like literally everything, and then you add what we hear when we play live, and it's like, okay, well, it's cool though
It
in a way
must be
because
an
that kind of
entirely different
for
experience live.
yeah. Yeah, because they're not having like they're not reading a what do you call it, like a review from a magazine and having
Yeah,
certain band names like served to them, which kind of you know
exactly. You're
if
kind
I
of
give you
told
three or
what to
four
look
band
out
names,
for.
yeah, it's like you're giving something away. So if you just take it in, listen to an entire album or watch an entire show, it's then you
Mm,
get even more drastic opinions. But I think it's good in the sense that we truly like try to incorporate so much into each song, and
mhm.
that there's a lot of really vague stuff and subtleties that maybe at the end of the day only we're going to pick up on, but there's really a lot packed into it. There's many layers, and we at the same time we try not to be forceful and and making things too bloated or
Mm,
throwing in maybe like a texture or some kind of influence or something that you're just putting in for the wrong reason. So we try to stay very conscious of like of flow and
yeah,
whatever vibe we're trying to convey. That's always more important.
and
Nobody's thinking about what genre or what band or this or that when we're putting together the pieces of a song. It's all
yeah,
emotionally driven and more spur of the moment. Um, it's more
and it's
impulsive.
worked very well, to be honest. It has really worked well.
Uh,
Uh,
Thanks. Yeah, I hope so.
no, it's all right. I'm really looking to obviously. I know you've only just released this, but I'm looking forward to hearing much more from you guys in the future. I know it's going to be good. Um, but just a
Thank
bit
you.
of a fun one. Obviously, we mentioned Ariana Grande. Do you reckon you could ever get her on as a guest vocalist?
Well, we'll start compiling a list of comments, and maybe when 100 people say that that's what we sound like, we'll reach out and see what we can do.
Right, you heard that on the Short Chris Rock show. 100 comments. We may have an Ariana Grande feature. Anyway, um, obviously, I just want to ask you one last question. Is there anything else you would like to add at all to fans and listeners at all?
Not so much, it's just a strange time to be living in, and I'm really hoping everyone is able to just focus on the future and stay healthy, stay positive. Hopefully everyone's, the artist community, everyone's able to stay creative and talk to one another and maybe collaborate in new ways. And yeah, I'm just thinking of one another and thinking of the changes that are the positive changes that will have to be made as the world adapts to this. But yeah, just hoping everyone's safe out there and doing well.
Well, Pablo, thank you very much for that. Appreciate it. All
Absolutely,
the best.
man. Yeah, it's been a pleasure. Take care.
Thank you.